I'd like to ask you about the global trading system in a minute, but first I'd like to ask a different question. One of the arguments for some of the tariffs is that countries like China have not played fair, that they've subsidized their industries and they've put up various trade barriers, and some other countries as well. Is there a justification for tariffs that are meant to, I guess, maybe equalize trade barriers between the U.S. and China and the U.S. and other countries? Jim, could you go first?
Well, I think Senator Toomey is right that the trade barriers you're hurting yourself. So I think I would be very cautious about proceeding down that that path. And let's remember sort of the context of what we're doing. The context is that China is winning, that China ruined America in the early 2000s by stealing away manufacturing, and that devastated all these communities and made America a worse place. Like that is sort of the founding myth of American populism. It's the founding myth of sort of the nationalist conservative movement. That and what President, and to put in the language of President Trump, that the United States got suckered at best. At worst, that all of these sort of evil elites knew this would happen, and that all these jobs and their companies profited by all this offshoring, and it's been a tremendous disaster, and therefore tariffs are the solution. So that means that is the mythology. The mere fact that after this, devastating economic event, the U.S. is richer than it was 25 years ago. All our industries were not devastated. Indeed, the last time I sort of checked, the top 20 most valuable companies, it's almost like all American companies. So the mythology, so that's one part of that mythology. And the other part of the mythology is sort of China figured it out. China figured out a way to do economic growth, and therefore we need to learn the lesson. And their way of economic growth was through subsidies and limiting access to their markets. And therefore we need to learn that lesson. And that is, I think, that played a huge role in sort of the nationalist conservative movement. Now, again, Senator Toomey said that would be a terrible lesson to draw, because the last time I checked, China's still a very poor country. China's a country with almost zero, if not negative, productivity growth. And again, for those who've been around long enough, and President Trump is one of those people, it is an exact replay of sort of the mythology that we saw during President Trump's sort of formative years in public life in the 1980s, where you had these people say, oh, look at Japan. Japan figured out a new way of doing trade, of doing economic growth, and therefore we need to follow them. Now, back then, you had a lot, it was sort of the Atari Democrats. Today, it's sort of the Trump Republicans who are drawing absolutely the wrong lesson. So again, to get back, I would love to see lots of free trade among free nations. I think I would be very careful about exporting, key military components, but very narrowly to China. But I would start from a basis. That open trade is the best way to create a prosperous country and an efficient private sector.